special baseball playoff edition of Inside the Lines Live. I'm Lizzie Arbogast alongside Caleb Turrentine. We are here at Bazemore Field in Wetumpka, getting ready for Benjamin Russell and Wetumpka to show down in the first round of the baseball playoff series. Obviously, we always love the playoffs.
Oh yeah, baseball playoffs. It's as good as it gets. Whether you like how they get here or not.
Let's not have that debate again.
But once it's here, this is one of the best high school sports of the year. I mean, football playoffs are great and all, and I know you're not the biggest baseball fan, but baseball playoffs, 2 or 3 series, it's just,
yeah.
I love it. I love it. And
yeah.
the weather, you can't ask for anything better.
I do like how they do the series in the playoffs. I think that, you know, it's a strong way to do it, given the fact that it's so weak the way that they decide who gets in.
Okay, fair.
We'll just
thought we were dropping that.
I can't drop it,
yeah,
but it's okay. It's okay. I think both, regardless of other teams, both Wetumpka and Benjamin Russell deserve to be here.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be a pretty evenly matched series. It's hard to kind of predict who's gonna win because I think they're both really solid teams.
Yeah, I mean, for Benjamin Russell, you're looking at, they were in the same area as the top team in 6A, and that's never easy. You're going to have to go on the road just because of that in your first round of the playoffs.
Right.
And then Wetumpka's over here thinking they're celebrating an area title, and they're bringing in one of the best 2 seeds in the state.
Right.
There are only two seeds in the first round of the playoffs that are ranked in the top 10 in 6A.
Right.
That's Benjamin Russell and Faith Academy. And so it's not easy for a draw for an area champion, and it's never easy for a top 10 team to go on the road in the first round. So it could be one of the best series of the first round.
Yeah, I would think so. And quite honestly, I mean, Benjamin Russell could have easily, even though Russell County ended up being the area winner out of Area 6, both of their games with Benjamin Russell were very close.
Right.
Could have gone either way. I mean, one hit in one of the games was the difference in the entire game. It was a 2-run game. The second game was a 3-2 game. So it easily could have gone either way.
And I imagine that's a big driving point for Benjamin Russell. They want to get to a point where they can play Russell County again, and you get to a quarterfinal, semifinal matchup.
Right. And I like Benjamin Russell and Wetumpka meeting because it sort of feels like there's sort of a rivalry in the making between these two teams. Not just in baseball, but in football. They've come, you know, the last two times that they've met, those games have been really important. You know, it's one of those things where it feels like it's starting something because they do meet each other so frequently in the playoffs, especially.
Yeah, and whenever you're close in areas, basketball and baseball, when those areas and sections are tied together, it might happen again in soccer in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, true.
And in football being in the same region, I mean, the two baseball teams were in the same area for the past 2 years before splitting up again. They have such a long history with each other, and to see it coming back and have such important games, it's cool to see, even for someone who's new to the area.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Benjamin Russell and Wetumpka, you mentioned they were in the area together prior to this season. They also played this season, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
it actually really wasn't that long ago, but it feels like a long time ago. It was only like 8 weeks ago.
We are 2 months to the day.
2 months to the day that they met. First game of the season. I guess technically the second game of the season. First day of the season. Wetumpka won 5-1.
And how much stock can you put into that?
Right.
I mean, it's in baseball in general, one game you can't put a ton of stock into.
Right. Compared
to a whole series, especially one played 2 months ago. Especially in high school ball, where no one's fresh, no one's ready. There's a ton of errors in that game. You know.
Right.
Yes, they played each other, but these two teams that are on the field today have not played each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've talked to Benjamin Russell coach Richie Brooks quite a bit about, he's been in the business, this is his 30th season, and he said that he's never had a starting day lineup be his ending day lineup, and that remains true today. So, I mean, the starting lineup is completely different than what it was the first time they met, and I would imagine the same is true for Wetumpka, at least to an extent. So, again, I don't know what to predict.
Yeah, I'm just here to enjoy the baseball.
Exactly.
It's a real bummer for you. You're going to have to get on out of here halfway through
the first game.
First game, yeah. So,
you want to
but as what's going on here, there's so many different players, I think, to look out for on both sides, because it's not that's what gets the good teams here. It's like, yes, you can have great aces on the mound on a team that might not make the playoffs. You can have one good hitter, might not make the playoffs.
Right.
And fielding in high school ball makes a huge difference to these kind of games. So it's a matter of everyone out there. And I think that's what Wetumpka has done so well They have really good players on their team, but it's someone different every single day, stepping up and getting that great hit, or they've shown some bullpen depth with their young talent, and that's just that feels like it makes a big difference in high school.
Yeah,
sure.
And I think the biggest thing for Benjamin Russell going in their favor is going to be their pitching.
Yes.
They have an team ERA of under 2, which is
absurd.
Pretty incredible. It's absurd. But, like you mentioned, defense is going to be so key for them. I think 49 of the 94 runs they've given up this season are earned. So what is that? 45 unearned runs? 35? 45? 45.
94 minus 49 is 35.
No, it's not. No, it's not. 45 plus 45 equals 90.
We'll talk about this during the break when we can come back.
We'll come back, but basically about half of their runs are unearned. And so I really think that Benjamin Russell's pitchers have done their duty all season long. But if they're going to give Wetumpka an extra out here and there, that could really be a doomsday for Benjamin Russell.
Yeah, and you have to take advantage of those opportunities, especially when you're in the playoffs. Wetumpka has a lineup that can get hits all the way through 1 through 9. They make you they get the ball in play. They don't strike out that much.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, just getting the ball in play is gonna be really key because Benjamin Russell could get a little willy-nilly with the ball. But they strike a lot of people out.
Now that's what I'm saying. Who's gonna be the starter here in game 1, and is he a strikeout pitcher?
I don't know who the starter is gonna be.
Still don't know.
I still don't know. My guess would be it's going to be either Cade Brooks or Brock Elliott, both of whom can strike people out. All of their pitchers. I think when I did the look last night, they had either 5 or 6 pitchers with at least 30 strikeouts. So, I mean, they're averaging over a strike across the whole pitching staff is averaging over a strikeout per inning.
Yeah.
So
that's big.
That's a lot.
Especially when you feel like, I mean, not necessarily that you can't rely on your defense behind them, but you don't want to put them in a situation.
Right.
You make one error, get a runner on second base all of a sudden. It could be no outs or 2 outs. That's a huge difference in a playoff series.
Yeah.
You're given an opportunity for one run to be knocked in with just a hit. That could be a difference.
Right. And actually, I think probably Benjamin Russell's best pitcher is Ryan Slayton. He's only a sophomore, which is why I don't think he'll probably get the start in game 1, just because he hasn't been there. They didn't make the playoffs last year when he was a freshman. So I think that probably I would expect to see him in game 2, though.
Right, and you mentioned Cade Brooks. Is that what his name was? Mm-hmm. Now they have 6 pitchers that have thrown more than 20 innings this year, and he's the only one with an ERA above 3.
Yeah.
And what's that saying? And that he's still one of the most reliable pitchers on the team. That's crazy because you know when he has it, and you know that you have depth to come in.
Right.
If he doesn't, you could have a starter go 3 innings and still be fine for a 3-game series.
Right.
Because you have that kind of depth in pitching, and that could be the difference with Benjamin Russell.
And it's one of those things where you start really playing with, okay, who starts? This is where I always think the baseball playoffs are so interesting, is because who starts game 2? Do you save your number 2 pitcher for game 2? Do you play him in game 2 and try to get the win if you're up? If you're down, you know what I mean? Like, do you save him for game 3? If it depends, it's really like a tough one.
Yeah, I think unless you know there's going to be a game 3, you can't. You can't.
You're never going to know.
Exactly. That's why I don't think you can save your top 2 pitchers, one of your top 2 pitchers for a game 3. You could get lucky, and
of course, when you're Benjamin Russell, you have 4 top pitchers. It's really fine.
Right. You could get lucky, throw your ace today, and then game 2 you throw your number 2, and then rain happens over 3 days. Then your ace is allowed to come back for game 3. But I've seen that happen.
That's true.
You can't. Obviously,
it's not going to rain tomorrow.
No, thank goodness. As long as the field's not too wet.
I don't know if it's going to rain tonight.
Well, we got to get to tomorrow first.
Right, but I'm saying it's not going to rain tomorrow, so I wouldn't rely on rain tomorrow.
Yes.
Unless it downpours tonight, which is entirely possible.
And that's what the biggest thing for Wetumpka is, that they've got their 1-2 punch on the mound is great. And they're the 2 best hitters, too. I mean, Seth Johnson, the junior, he transferred in last year. This is what his sport is baseball. He played basketball, but he is better at baseball. And, he came over to be on a big stage like this. This is a 6-day playoffs. You don't get much bigger than that for a baseball player in Alabama. And so he's going to start today in game 1. And then Mason Elmore's probably going to get the start in game 2. But if Wetumpka doesn't sweep, I don't know who gets that game to start. They've got pitchers.
Right.
But it'll have to be a by committee thing because you don't know who's going to go 5-6 innings. Now, I have seen Douglas Johnson. He's a freshman. he shut down Sweetwater, 3-time defending state champion.
Right.
Limited to 1 run over 6 innings earlier this year. So they have it. They have guys who can perform. It's just finding that consistency and making sure you can get 3-4 innings out of them.
I think one of the things that Coach Brooks and I talked about was that also Benjamin Russell's pitchers they've been in all situations. Like you look at Cade Brooks, and sometimes he'll only pitch 3 innings. He's pitched a couple complete games though too. So he's the whole pitching staff is on board with kind of whatever needs to happen is going to happen. Whether they need to go in for 3 innings to close out a game or to relieve for an inning, and I think that's going to work to their advantage as well. I still just don't know what to predict. I'm already thinking ahead to the third segment where we're making our predictions, and I got nothing.
And before we go to the next spot, just looking at Benjamin Russell's stats, Brett Pitts can hit.
Yes.
I mean, it is absurd.
He's
some
really
stat
good.
line.
And you know what? This is his 2nd year in a row where he's hitting almost 500.
Yeah, he's got slash line for baseball fans. You know what a slash line is?
No.
Okay, well, it's your batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage.
I'm his editor, just so you guys know.
427 batting average. He gets on base 56% of the time, 557 on base percentage, and a 730 slugging. So, I mean, over a 1,000 OPS on base plus slugging is what makes an elite hitter, and he's over 1,200. And that doesn't happen in high school baseball. That's a stat line that you see from a huge hitter in high school softball. You know.
And he can also pitch really well. And he's arguably their best infielder.
Well, there you go. He's a good player.
He's a good player, and he's only a junior. And he was the defensive player of the year for the Outlook for football.
I was wondering where she was going with that.
Right. I don't know why. I just assumed everyone knew that. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back. We got a lot of other series going on as well in the area, and we want to touch on those. So we'll take a quick break, and we will return shortly.
Pitcher number 4.
Welcome back to Inside the Lines Live. I'm Lizzie Arbias alongside Caleb Turrentine. We are here at Bazemore Field in Wetumpka getting ready for Benjamin Russell's first round playoff series against the Indians. Really exciting series, but we